A build that is seen to go quite underappreciated and has a great mix of survivability, tankiness, and can deal a lot of damage, especially if running Ubers, is what I hope after seeing this video, you'll enjoy playing as much as I did. In today's video, I'm going to go over the build for the Endgame Fury Druid, one that is as quick to run around as he is powerful with dealing a lot of damage. I'm going to go over the attributes, the skill tree, the gear for my character and my mercenary, and afterwards I'm going to show you guys some gameplay so you could see this build in action. But do keep in mind that when it comes to this build, there are different ways you can be able to gear the character depending on your needs, whether you're trying to go for maximum DPS, you're trying to do a magifying character, or a hybrid of the two. Just keep in mind when it comes to looking at the gear choices that I'm going to be choosing, that you can choose alternative gear depending on the demand that you have for your build. Before we actually get into the build, the comment shout out for this video is going to be Onion Billy Lee, who was stoked on the crafting guide video for hip power gloves to be able to learn some of the mechanics that may be a little bit overwhelming at first to understand. I appreciate the kind words, and hopefully you'll have really good RNG to be able to craft a really good pair for yourself. Now let's go ahead and get into the video. For the attributes, I have enough strength and dexterity to be able to equip my gear. I added a few additional points to swap gear around if I wanted to be able to run Ubers, but the remaining points all went into vitality. For the skill trees, there's nothing in the elemental skill tree, and in the summoning skill tree, I have maxed out Heart of the Wolverine for more damage. As with using Feral Rage for the life leech, survivability shouldn't be an issue for this build. Lastly, for the shapeshifting skill tree, I have 1 point into Werebear for the pre-buff that I'll discuss later on, then maxed out Werewolf, maxed out Feral Rage as it acts similarly to the Barb's Frenzy as far as the movement speed, but it also has life leech. Then 1 point into Rabies to then max out Fury, the skill to deal damage that this build is focused around. Then all of the remaining points went into Lycanthropy, as the difference in its skill points when compared to the other ones that are maxed out is only 3 points. So this skill not being maxed out to have slightly less health is not a deal breaker as I continue to level up this character. For the gear, starting with the helm, I'm going to be using Metamorphosis for both the Mark of the Bear and the Mark of the Wolf to buff my character up. As well as this new reward itself has amazing stats such as +5 to shapeshifting, crushing blow, cannot be frozen, strength, vitality, and a small boost to all resistances. But you can swap the helms around after the marks are buffed as the benefits stay to be able to give you a different option of a helmet to use. The amulet is Hyler's Wrath for the plus to skills, IAS, Deadly Strike, and lightning resistance. The body armor is Fortitude for the enhanced damage, life based on character level, and all resistance. The weapon is Breath of the Dying and a great poleaxe. I rolled this back in Pluggy and never got around to using it as I mainly rolled this reward specifically for a Fury Druid, especially with its Poison Nova proc, huge IAS, negative 25% to target defense, boosted damage against the undead, dual leech, and 30 to all attributes. I know there's other favorable weapon choices, such as the staple Fury Druid weapon being an up Ripcracker with a Shale Rune, or possibly Death, which I actually discussed BoTD versus Death in a previous video if you're interested, but I'm excited to finally use this weapon. The boots are Gore Riders for the Deadly Strike, Crushing Blow, Open Wounds, and faster Run Walk. Because the helmet has Cannot Be Frozen, I'm going to be using a Rare Ring with Life Leech, Strength, and All Res. The belt is Verdungo's for the faster hit recovery, vitality boost, and physical damage reduction by 15%. A great alternative would be String of Ears as it can also roll with up to 15% physical damage reduced, and it also has life leech if you want to add more to the build. The second ring is an attack rating, dual leech ring with life, mana, and poison resistance. The gloves are Laying of Hands for the IAS, enhanced damage to demons, and fire resistance. On switch, I'm going to be using Harmony to get around faster. If you're trying to truly maximize your damage, one way you can do so is to be able to use Brand on switch for the chance to cast amplified damage when struck, or for a cheaper alternative, use Lacerator to proc amp damage on striking, then switch back to your main weapon. But with how much damage this build already has, I'm going to be sticking with Harmony to move around quicker. Now again, this is just how I built out this build, and there's different gear options available, some cheaper options, and others are ridiculously expensive. Feel free to leave your thoughts on alternative gear options down in the comment section below. In the inventory, I have my Cube, Torch, Annie, both tomes. The Grand Charms are shapeshifting skillers with either life or faster run walk, and the last Grand Charm is the Bone Break Sunder Charm. The small charms are a mix of resistances, faster run walk, and life. Looking at the additional stats, there's 21% life leech, 13% mana leech, 100% increased attack speed, 61% faster run walk, 40% crushing blow, and 48% deadly strike. For the Mercenary, he is a Might Mercenary using a Dariel's Visage socketed with the Fire Res Jewel, Shaft Stop socketed with an Umrune as he needs to stay alive to be able to have my Fury Druid benefit from the aura that he'll be providing from his weapon, which is the Concentration Aura from Pride. However, I'll quickly go over a few different options depending on the gear choices that you'd use with this build. If you're trying to go all out for damage without using Pride, you can use an Act 1 Mercenary with Brand for the amplified damage proc. This way you don't have to use it yourself and keep Harmony equipped on switch. Although the most absolute least desirable option, it is still one to potentially consider. If you aren't wanting to use the Bone Break Sunder Charm, There are two options that will help with physical resistance, and the more expensive of the two options is giving your Act 2 Mercenary Reaper's Toll for the Decrepify proc. However, a cheaper alternative would be an Act 5 Mercenary with Lawbringer, either using one or dual wielding it for the Decrepify proc. Now that we've discussed the attributes, the skill trees, the gear for my character and my Mercenary, let's go ahead and check out this build in action to see how well it actually plays out. This build just absolutely wrecks, to the point that there's very little that needs to be said about it. Buff for pre-buffing, transform into a werebear first, get the Mark of the Bear active, then shapeshift into a werewolf and get the Mark of the Wolf active. And lastly, get your Feral Rage charged up, and then just run all over the place and 1 or 2 shot everything in your path, as you have up to 19,000 damage with this setup, with every now and then using Feral Rage for a few hits to be able to keep it charged up. And yes, this build can handle Player's 8 quite well. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit longer for things to be killed, but it's still very safe to play and destroys everything without much issue. Let's go ahead and wrap this up with the Chaos Sanctuary run.
impossible. Impossible.
I've grown to appreciate how awesome this build is, and it seemed to favor more melee style builds over casters, and this build was a lot of fun to play. But if this is too expensive for you and you still want to try it out but on a budget, check out my budgeted version of this build that wrecks everything without the need to farm excessively to get the gear to be able to play it, or it could be quite cheap to be able to trade for the items. The video is going to be linked down in the description below, and if the video is privated as you're watching this, it'll be uploaded shortly. Otherwise, I hope you have a lot of fun with this build, regardless of which one you choose to play. And that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and were able to see if this build would be something that you would be interested in going into the future, and if anything, at least just enjoyed the video. If you like this kind of content and want to see more, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification to be notified whenever a new video comes out.
Come on. Come on. Come on, then. There you are. There you are.
And if you like this video, please let me know by leaving a like. It really is appreciated to be able to help my channel to grow. And if you want to see more of my Diablo 2 Resurrected content, make sure to click the card in the corner up above to check out my Diablo 2 Resurrected playlist with a lot of videos already in it, with a lot more coming in the very near future. Other than that, I hope you guys are staying safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.